There is only one you, and that is your superpower. You can't F that up. However, you can get stuck. That's why I created this space called Unstuck Yourself with Crystal Simmons. Unstuck Yourself is about figuring out what has you feeling frustrated, isolated, or depleted of energy so that you're able to unstuck yourself on your journey through life when you don't know how to move forward. Unstuck yourself in your career that no longer excites and challenges you. Unstuck yourself with negative thoughts that seem to be doing cartwheels in your head consistently. I don't have the answers. You do. You always have. I'm providing the time, space, and grace for you to reconnect to that knowing. I'm Crystal Simmons, coach, speaker, and facilitator, and I'm grateful you made it here. Let's begin to unstuck yourself. So if you're a huge fan of the HBO series Insecure, you'll remember the last season where Issa Rae, the main character, goes back and sees her former self wearing braces. And she's talking to herself in the mirror and she's like, "Ooh, we got our braces off." She's like, "Let me see your teeth. Show me how you eat." I can relate. I can relate to that. I had the traditional braces and now I have experienced Invisalign. It is so important when you do any type of treatment, follow through the entire treatment. I love showing off my teeth. So if you have wanted to be a part of that, call Bates Orthodontics today at 804-258-4268. You can also visit them at batesbraces.com, BATESBRACES.com for a free consult. And you can schedule it by clicking their green button up at the top and follow the 3 easy steps. If you're not local to Richmond, visit Invisalign.com, enter in your zip code, and you'll find the perfect Invisalign provider that is in your area. Again, let me see them teeth. Hello, welcome back, peeps. It's me, Crystal, and it's our time together again. So we're gonna stroll into my favorite part of the show. It's all about you. Yeah, yeah. Wait, that's All About Me, Maya song. Great song. Anywho, this is the It's All About You segment of the show, and I'm shouting out 2 peeps that recently hit me up. Y'all are the dopest. The 2 I'm about to speak about, but each and every person who is listening, who is sharing, who is enjoying, who is having those aha moments, who is telling their friends about it, who is reflecting and implementing the stories I share, my perspective, and making it your own, that is the dopest. Thank y'all for doing that. And I'm saying thank you because we're all creating a better experience of this life. However we want our life to be, we're the creators of that. And hopefully the people you hear that are guests on here, but also the things I share, the thoughts you have, is creating that. Deanna, thank you for your message. She shared earlier this month, she said, "I just did a Google search for things on servant leadership for a client of mine, and your podcast popped up. It was so wonderful." Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Thank you, Deanna. Her and I actually went through the Coaching for Everyone cohort in partnership with IPEC coaching training program, and I had the pleasure to work with her one-on-one multiple times in our group coaching session. So I really appreciate you. She's helped me so much, given me so many different perspectives, and yeah, thank you, Deanna. And the next message I got was from Jane, and her and I met a couple years ago when I worked at the farm for the Richmond Food Justice Alliance, and obviously in Richmond. And this message she sent me on Instagram. It was a direct message, and there aren't words for me to put into how I felt when I read it. I don't want to say it's overwhelming, but it came like it always does at the time where I needed to hear it the most. And now that I'm remembering being in that spot of feeling seen, and also allowing that space for her to be seen. So I'll read. Hey, Crystal, I've always admired and enjoyed your content on IG, but I've never known about the podcast or given it a try. Today I did because I felt stuck and tired and like I want to scream, but at the same time, act like I'm fine because I'm at work. LOL. At episode 1 right now, 17 minutes in, and I'm ashamed we haven't been able to get to know each other more. Every single word spoke to me. It was like I was telling my own story. I'm excited to hear more, and I'll keep you updated. And I'm not kidding. From the thinking I want to be a doctor, finding out that I actually love human contact and collaboration more than anything, I'm listening right now, will continue to, and hopefully we can take this conversation face to face sometime. You're proof that if I commit, I will find out my answers one by one. I can see you're happy, and I want to get there where you are. Jane, you're already there. That part of, if I commit, meaning you are committing to yourself by sharing this, being open. And not only that, allow me to share your perspective with so many people who are listening and feel the same exact way. I am not special. If I'm special, then we're all special. And I'm just thankful that you recognize that the answers come one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, one opportunity, one no, one yes, one maybe. We're all just taking those steps forward. And you are there. I promise you. You're not lacking anything. What you see in me is what you see in yourself. And that is something that I learned recently. What you're seeing is joy, it is peace. For me to be able to be at peace is to recognize that things occur, to release judgment of what is good and bad. I can acknowledge that feeling certain feelings is tough, it's hard, it's challenging. But that's not to say that anything that happens to me, I'm like, oh, this is great. It's like, I know it's happening for a reason. And I'm looking at it at a different perspective sometimes. So I hope this moment of It's All About You segment, y'all recognize that your words are feeding me as well. You might think you're showing up to this podcast and I have all the answers, or my guests have all the answers and we figured everything out. No. When I receive messages like this, it's like, ooh, okay, I can do this. I am doing something that's beneficial. I am human. I really doubt myself sometimes. I am not perfect. So I really just want to give y'all a big hug, just filled with love, and say, I'm right there with you. And I appreciate you allowing me to be there with you. You no longer have to do everything by yourself. You no longer have to hold your tongue. You no longer have to keep it cute. Let that shit flow. And if you ever seen shit flow, it's not pretty. And it's just like change. Change sucks. So those new feelings sometimes can feel like pure shit. Sorry, not sorry. So stop trying to cover the shit up with perfumes of I'm fine, it's cool, I'm good. I'm not gonna let that person get to me. No. Because as soon as you say that, you've already given that person or the situation control. Breathe. And know that today's episode will need to be played more than once. You might have to pause it and come back to it. That is cool. Give yourself grace. If you miss some parts, I promise you, when you go back, you'll swear I added new segments in. But nope, that's just your awareness growing. Allow that to happen. You didn't miss anything. Celebrate that. And that's the reason this episode is titled, Done is Better Than Perfect. Okay. What is that one thing you keep putting off? I'll wait. Is it applying for that new job? Is it asking for a raise? Is it telling honest truth to your spouse? Telling honest truth to yourself? Ooh, Mm-hmm. What are you pretending not to know? For many of you, you had a thought, it popped up into your head. And some of you maybe have felt it in your heart or in your gut. And now you're justifying that thought and like, well, I'm not really putting it off. Like I've been busy. I've been thinking about it. I've been trying to get to it. And yeah, I know. Research shows that expressive writing can enhance self awareness, ultimately decreasing depressive symptoms, anxious thoughts, and perceived stress. And that comes from a LinkedIn article that I'll put in the show so that you can actually continue to read more about it. But research suggests that becoming more self aware can be beneficial in a variety of ways. It can increase our confidence and encourage us to be more accepting of others. It can lead to a higher job satisfaction and push us to become more effective leaders. It can also help us to exercise more self control and make better decisions aligned with our long term goals. So I'll ask again, what are you putting off? What do you have stuck floating in your head of, I need to get to that? I'm going to do that. No, that's on my list. But it's just floating. It's just floating. Done is better than perfect. This is not perfect in the sense of better than other people. This is not perfect in the sense of perfection. No. I'm talking about the kind of perfect where you will talk yourself out of something because you don't have time. But in actuality, you don't want to prioritize things because that seems selfish. This is the perfect where you don't want to get it, in air quotes, wrong. Whatever the it is, it could be a real conversation with your best friend treating you like shit, or your in laws that judge the shit out of you, or your boss thinking you're incompetent, but you are the one they hired without providing you with proper training. These are just a few examples. Now, I know there are hundreds of them, maybe thousands, maybe 15 just popped into your head. So I'm going to focus on just a few for today's show. And by a few, I'm choosing 3. The first one is going to be from a career perspective. The second one will be for relationship. And the last and the most important one is you. So number 1, career. You have just been hired and have asked for training for your new role, and your supervisor insists training is not necessary. How can someone outside of you tell you what's best for you? Especially when they are removing resources instead of adding. What? First step, write that shit out. No thesis, you can abbreviate it, you don't need paragraphs and such. Done is better than perfect. I want you to grab a piece of paper right now, get your pen, marker, whatever, and I want you to write out what training means to you. If you had the situation, it's something to the effect of uncomfortableness that you haven't addressed, write it out. And I want you to write out what this situation means to you. The situation could be, what does a raise mean to you? What does a new job mean to you? And like I mentioned before, in that article that I have linked, research shows that expressive writing can enhance self-awareness. Y'all, triple A's. First one, most important one, awareness. But it ultimately decreases depressive symptoms or anxious thoughts or perceived stress. When we have things just floating in our head, it makes it bigger than what it actually is. Have you ever had a to-do list just floating in your head and you're like, I have so much to do. And then you go write it out and you're like, I don't have that much to do. And you knock it out, my heart just fluttered. I just had a pleasure-filled moment. When you write this, think about increasing your confidence, having that awareness of what the job entails. Now you're like, I know what I need to do in this role. I know what training means to me. Now, if I have the expectations written out, I can go knock that out. But if I'm not able to do it on my own, at least I can go get resources for it. Training might mean more education for you. You might be a lifelong learner. Did I also mention confidence? It increases creativity. Maybe you see something in the training, you hear something like, oh my gosh, we can actually do this in my department. I know exactly how this could help my team. You can meet new people. It could be a time where you kind of get to chill and organize your thoughts of how you want to show up. Once you have written it out, for as long as you deem necessary, if we're talking about wanting training in your job, figuring out what training means to you, and you've come up with a few things, ask yourself, how do I feel? Maybe the training isn't actually necessary. Awesome. That's great. What did we just do? Increase our awareness. Maybe after you finish writing, you actually want more training and now you're annoyed. Awesome too. Still increasing awareness. That is what this is all about. Increasing your awareness. You don't have to hold on to that alone. You have the chance to meet with me to complete the ELI assessment so that we can co-create a conversation to convey your needs to your supervisor without blowing up or yelling. Better yet, what most people do, shut down. I'm not gonna let them get the best of me. I'm gonna keep doing my work and I'm not even gonna think about those people. But you're still thinking about them. You're literally talking about not thinking about them. So not only are you thinking about them, you're actually expressing it. You're making it real. That feeling is just fostering, it's just growing inside, and it will ooze outside of you onto the people you love, onto the people you care about. It's not contained as well as you think it is. Number 2, your relationship with a spouse or a friend. You're in a relationship, romantic or platonic, and your partner dismisses your feelings. Ugh. You have expressed your frustration and irritation, and they later say, that's no big deal. And then they go on and say, I mean, I wouldn't have handled it that way. Not the way you just did. No shit, Sherlock. Because you're not me. Breathe with me, peeps. When you express your feelings, you are the only person who can claim, rearrange, or release those feelings. The most important thing I want to tell you is I believe you. If you have been in a recent conversation with someone and they didn't respond in that manner, it's okay. It's okay. When we know better, we do better. And I learned that only a few months ago or so. I'm still learning. I'm still practicing that. So going back to the scenario, no one else is in your body, mind, and soul. No one else has experienced the things you've endured. No one else is you. So trying to convince others that you're right is a loss. Don't do it. That can't be your goal. You will fail. And then on top of you feeling your raw emotions and then wanting to be right and failing, just adds on extra shit. So this is what I recommend. Practice it, write it out. Again, I'm still practicing it. It has changed my relationship with my husband, and our conversations is no more of I'm right, you're wrong, or he thinks he's right and I'm wrong and we're going to prove ourselves. Breathe, and I want you to say your feelings, but say them with I statements. When you dismiss my feelings as it's insignificant or it's irrelevant, I feel unheard. I feel unseen. I feel unworthy to express my feelings. And you can add on to that by sharing what you would like to have happen in the future. For example, if I repeat the same scenario, when you dismiss my feelings as insignificant and irrelevant, I feel unheard. I feel unseen. I feel unworthy to share my feelings. In the future, when I say that, are you willing to offer me a hug when I share that with you? Or are you willing to allow me some time to process my feelings? Or are you willing to discuss the situation further without trying to win? And if something popped up for you just now, share it with me. I don't have all the answers. We collectively have them. And I would be so honored if y'all would share examples of I statements that you have used and the ones that have been effective, or maybe you just thought of one, which is awesome. Share it. So again, in those relationships, use I statements. Other I statements are, when you told me one thing and you did another, I was confused. Can you explain that to me? Another one could be, when I ask for your opinion and you say it doesn't matter. So when I make a decision and you judge the F out of it, I feel irritated and frustrated by your reaction. The more you practice, the clearer your conversations are, and pauses or breaks are expected. Meaning, even if you have the I statement in your brain and you forget it in the middle of your sentence, breathe. This is like learning a new language. I remember taking Spanish in high school, which I'm so awful at. Like, how often did we try to say, me llamo es Cristal? And then you're like, all right, what else do I want to say? This is the same thing. This is a new language. The more you practice, the clearer your conversations will be. Promise you. This is one I'm still working on. I feel regretful when I forget to use the I statements. I'm like, shoot, that would have been really good. And thankfully my husband will remind me. He's like, you didn't use the I statement. I'm like, you're right. But ain't no winners, you know what I mean? All right. So I do say I apologize if I didn't use an I statement. Our conversation gets very convoluted and our egos try to creep in. Yeah, you feel it. It's like, wait a minute, we need to pause. So we have a word that we share, and we'll say it out loud, and we deem that word as, this is a safe space, this is a conversation rooted in love, and it kind of brings us back to. So you can also do that with someone as well. And it doesn't have to be your spouse. It could be a friend. It could be a family relative. Like, it could be whatever you want it to be. But these growth moments that I'm thankful for, and I get to share it with you all. And now, y'all ready for number 3? So we talked about the career, we talked about relationships. It's all about you again. I like it being about y'all. So asking for what you want can be scary if you're turned down, right? If you're like, I'm gonna ask for help, and then when you do it, people are like, no. It's scary. You kind of tell yourself, like, this is why I do things by myself. I get it. I get it. It can be scary. If I ask you right now, yes, you're listening right now. I'm talking to you. Just picture my face staring at you right now. What do you want? 9.5 out of 10 people that I ask, their first answer is, I don't know. Did you just think, I don't know? Why is that your answer? When we were kids, many of us knew the answer. We were playing with board games or playing Nintendo or going outside. We were effing up our play shoes and our clothes, and our parents were like, get in the house with your good shoes. But I say all that to say we were active in some way. So we always had answers. We were always exploring. We were always curious. We were always open to trying things. You see where I'm going? You see where I'm going. You don't know because you keep doing shit for other people. Your job, your family, your kids, your neighbor, your spouse, your house, your car. So your task today is to play. 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 Do you remember that word? When did you stop playing? What does play look like for you? Let's take it back to our writing exercise and answer the question, what does play look like for me? Take as much time as you need. You can pause it, come back to this. You're more important than this episode. What does play look like for you? Some of y'all may have the feeling of being overwhelmed, of like, oh, I can't, that's too much. I have too much to do. Got it. Brene Brown says, if you're overwhelmed, meaning you can't even begin to get to the next thing or get the next thing done, you need to do nothing. Not do nothing and continue as normal, but literally do nothing. The research shows that nothingness is the only way we really reset after overwhelm. Don't distract yourself with something else. Brene Brown says she walks for about 10 to 15 minutes in the parking lot, and you could lay in a quiet room for about 10 minutes in your house. You can lay outside in the grass. It's amazing for me. I love it. Do absolutely nothing. If you're overwhelmed with even the thought of writing this out or thinking about these questions, do nothing. Don't listen to music. Don't play a game. Don't get on your phone and start scrolling social media. Do nothing. You would be amazed at what comes up. If you have the thought of, I can't do nothing, my question to you is, why are you so insignificant to yourself? But yet you want people to treat you better than what you're treating yourself right now. You control this. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. You deserve it. And if that seems so foreign, go play. We did it again. That's a wrap. Y'all, we put in some deep work today. And I am so proud and happy of each and every one of you who responded to yourself with these questions, with these moments to write. Let it out. Let it out. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for each of you. I'm so relaxed and peaceful that I know all the things I've been experiencing and going through was not for anything. It was for moments like this where I get to share those tools, those resources. I'm not just saying words to say them. They're life-changing. They're transformative. And they're things that, yes, I do wish I knew before, but I know now. So I'm screaming it from the podcast. I want to congratulate each and every one of you for showing up each and every week, messaging me. I can't wait to add more to the It's All About You segment. Those are really fun. I really like those. And if you have those feelings coming up and you're feeling yourself like, oh, this was heavy, you did heavy work. Lifting weights, like working out, it's the same thing. It's your brain. That's way more important than like getting a six-pack that I've never had. But you know what I mean? It's whatever. Breathe. Also know this ELI assessment is for those who have been doing the self-work, for those who have listened to one podcast, for those who are in a job that they love, for those who are in a job that they don't love, for those who are questioning their relationship with their family or their spouse. This ELI assessment is for anyone who is looking to increase their awareness of themselves. If you have been doing some reflective work, some questioning and answering those questions, imagine being able to really see yourself in a way that you have control. Yeah, you get mad. Yeah, we all do. Yeah, you feel stuck. Hello, it's called Unstuck Yourself with Crystal Simmons, because I get stuck. Yeah, you're hopeful, but yet maybe don't trust people. That is all normal. But if you are to a point where you want to do something with that awareness, this ELI assessment, it is 20 minutes. It is a 90-minute debriefing that comes along with it with me. It'll be you and I, where we will go through this assessment, and you will have these tangible, written out, black and white feedback of how you show up on a day-to-day. Are you more optimistic? Are you typically more angry? Are you more giving? Always giving of your time, and you're realizing like, I don't know if I can do this all the time. None of this is good or bad. It is laying it out for you to decide what you want to do with that knowing. And how it helped me was seeing that even though I know I come from a place of wanting to help others, but also being mindful that I don't have all the time in the world, and not feeling bad that I can't help everybody one-on-one. I can't. Allowing myself to be me and recognize whenever I'm either burnt out, tired, stressed out, anxious, I shoot down a lower energy level of just feeling stuck, of like, well, I don't want to do anything then, or questioning myself and my skills. And recognizing when I do that and how I do it. So when I'm in the moment, I'll be like, oh, I'm really frustrated right now. And I'm gonna breathe and I'm gonna allow myself to be frustrated, because I know if I sit in this frustration and I keep feeding it and making somebody else wrong and blaming other people, I'm not productive. I'm not in that creative space. I'm not attracting what I wanted. Just know that ELI assessment is there for anyone who has thought about working with me but have not been able to commit to the 3-month one-on-one coaching. This assessment is for you. You can find more information in the show notes, but also on my website at crystalclearpurposes.com. And we can book a time together. More importantly, you can reconnect to you, like your true you, and accepting all of the parts. And then you get to move those parts for yourself to create that life that you want, to create that happiness. I'm excited for all of y'all. So can't wait to talk to y'all next week. Until then, get unstuck, peeps.